This past weekend, I saw The Matrix. And no, that's not the cool part. I'd obviously seen The Matrix many, many times. I'd even seen it many times on the big screen. No, this time around, I got to see it in shared reality at the Cosm. So the Cosm is a venue in Los Angeles. And as I understand it, there's other locations in the US. But essentially, it's kind of like the Sphere in Vegas to a lesser extent, not quite as, fully like all enveloping, but nonetheless cool. And I'd seen visuals of it, people watching games, so you're at this venue and there's this essentially giant dome and you feel like you're kind of in the sporting event, right? So that's what I knew of this place going into it. I'd had friends who had seen The Matrix in this way and were like, hey, you love The Matrix, you should check this out. So, I went ahead and did that. And I'm glad I did, right? I will say it was an interesting experience. There's 3 levels within Cosm, right? So, level 1, level 2, level 3, and they each have their own sort of names, but I'm just going to use 1, 2, and 3, right? And when I was buying the tickets, I didn't know which level would be the best. Sometimes you can tell based on pricing of hey, which seats might be, more popular or something like that. But this time around I didn't see that to be the case. So I ended up picking, these 2 seats that, I thought were good, right? So I ended up on level 1. In hindsight, it's tough to give the recommendation of pick level 2 simply because I have not tried it. And, I didn't get to go up into the various different levels to see what the differences might be. I think it would be great to have that point of comparison. Unfortunately, I do not. So we were on level 1. So that means you're kind of looking up at the screen. Now, the good news is, the seats essentially kind of tilt back and are very comfortable and stuff like that. So it's not like you're craning your neck and it's hurting you. But essentially what happens is that the movie plays in the middle of this, giant sort of dome. And then around it are supplemental visuals. So sometimes if you're entering through Matrix code, it'll have the Matrix code. Other times, if you're in an apartment building, it'll have the space of it filled out, not like an extension of the visual, but, supplemental. And sometimes it works better. Sometimes, it's just kind of there and whatnot. And at first you kind of notice it, right? You're like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. But I would say eventually you kind of fall back on just seeing the movie, right? And being like, okay, I'm here for the movie. That's the main draw at the end of the day. The other stuff is cool and all, but I'm more focusing on the movie. At least that's what the experience was like for me. So, can I say that it made The Matrix better or worse? It made it different. That's what I can definitively say, is that it was a different experience. It was an experience that I'm glad I went. But, as far as better or worse, it's just different. I think something like this, I appreciate that they're doing something like this, but ultimately I think it will benefit from stuff truly created for this type of viewing experience, right? And sports seem to be the thing, right? Before the movie started, there were these previews of surfing, right? Big wave summer or something like that, they called it. And that seems like a good use of the venue and stuff like that. And again, I'm glad that I went. I'm glad people enjoyed it in terms of this. But I don't know if taking a pre-existing movie that is, rectangular and stuff like that and filling it out is necessarily the best use of the technology. Again, at times, it adds, it adds something. At other times, it's just okay, you're doing it because you kind of need to, right? Sort of a thing. So it was an interesting experience. I'm glad to have seen kind of where technology is being pushed, especially as far as experiences go, things of that nature. There's food, there's drinks, all that stuff available to you. So in that regard, it's a fun night out. And yeah, if you just kind of want to see it, I wouldn't necessarily go to see The Matrix for the first time there. Like if you've never seen The Matrix, I don't know if this is like the optimal viewing experience for your first time around. But maybe it is, you know. If you're curious about The Matrix, maybe this is an excuse to go see it for the first time. If you have seen it and really enjoy the movie, then I think this will be something worth your while. But in general, I would actually probably more stick to sports, you know, and stuff like that. I would go on the Cosm's website, see what experiences and stuff like that they have, and see what catches your eye, and go check it out, right? Pricing is actually, for the most part, reasonable. Like, you know, I end up paying the average cost of an LA movie ticket for the most part, like, you know, premium, of course, like Dolby or IMAX. But all things considered, it's like that to me was a reasonable price. I would have expected it to be higher than that, but it wasn't. So yeah, it was a fun night out. Again, a different experience. Can't definitively say better or worse, but I'm glad I had it. And yeah, I'd be interested to check out sporting events more so in the future there.